Welcome. Today we are breaking down one of the biggest mysteries in personal finance: how to get into that exclusive 800 plus credit score club. It's a score that unlocks the absolute best interest rates, the premium credit cards, all the good stuff. But for a lot of people, even people who do everything right, it just feels totally out of reach. Well, it turns out there's one simple rule, a key that most people miss. And in this explainer, we're going to hand you that key. If you're ready to master your credit, make sure you're subscribed and let's jump right in. So here's the thing that drives people absolutely nuts, right? You're doing everything you're supposed to. You pay every single bill on time every month without fail. You're not drowning in debt. On paper, you look like a perfect borrower. So why is your score stuck? Why does it seem to hit this invisible ceiling somewhere in the high 700s? It is super frustrating, and it makes you wonder, what on earth is the missing piece of the puzzle? Well, the answer, and really the whole point of this explainer, is that getting from a very good score to an exceptional one isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. It all boils down to one single, simple rule that has nothing to do with if you pay your bills, but everything to do with when you pay them. I know it sounds almost too simple, but trust me, mastering this one tiny detail is the hidden lever that will launch your score into the elite tier. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to get straight to it and reveal the 800 plus score secret. Then we need to get under the hood and look at the anatomy of a credit score, so you'll understand why this secret is so powerful. From there, we'll do a deep dive into the simple utilization rule itself. We'll also bust some common and pretty expensive credit score myths. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a step-by-step action plan that you can start using today. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the 800 plus score secret. Now, I want to be really clear here. This is not just some generic tip you've already heard a million times. This is a fundamental change in how you need to think about your credit. Paying your bills on time? Look, that's just the ticket to get in the door. That's baseline. It's not what gets you the corner office with a great view. Okay, you ready? Here it is. The single most important rule for breaking into the 800s. The most important date on your credit card bill is not your payment due date, it is your statement closing date. Just let that sink in for a second. By paying most of your balance before your statement closes, you get to control the exact number that gets reported to the credit bureaus. See, most people wait until the due date, which is after a high balance gets reported, but not you. This one small shift in timing is the lever that lifts your score from just good to truly exceptional. Okay, so why in the world does this one little timing trick have such a huge impact on your score? To really get it, to really understand its power, we have to look at how a credit score is actually built. The blueprint, the architecture. Once you see the different parts and how much weight they each carry, the logic behind this rule is going to click into place perfectly. So take a look at this. This breaks down the FICO 8 model, which is by far the most common score lenders look at when you apply for anything. Now, just look at those numbers. Payment history, are you on time? That's 35%. Huge. But look at the next one, amounts owed, which is basically your credit utilization. That's another 30%. Just think about that for a second. Between those two factors, that's a whopping 65% of your entire credit score. 65%. This is where the game is won or lost. And this table here really puts it all into perspective. For an 800 plus score, your payment history is non-negotiable. It's pass-fail. You have to be at 100%. But here's the thing. Getting that perfect only gets you part of the way there. The other factors, like your age of credit, your credit mix, those change really slowly. You can't just wake up tomorrow and have a 15-year credit history. But that 30% for credit utilization, that is the one major part of your score that you have total control over, month in and month out. It's the only place to find those extra points you need to get over the 800 hump. And that's exactly where our simple rule comes in. So let's dive into Section 3 and really break down the nuts and bolts of this simple utilization rule. We're about to clear up the single most misunderstood aspect of credit card billing. It really just comes down to mastering your calendar. First things first, let's define our key term, Credit Utilization Ratio, or CUR. The math is really simple. It's just your total credit card balances divided by your total credit limits. So if you owe $1,000 on a card with a $10,000 limit, your utilization is 10%. Now, why does this matter so much? Well, to a lender, a low utilization says you're not stretched thin. It shows that you manage your money well and you're not relying on debt to get by. It makes you look like a very, very low-risk borrower. And this slide right here, this is the whole game. This is the heart of everything we're talking about. Everybody knows the payment due date. You miss that, you get hit with late fees, you pay interest. It's pretty straightforward. But the statement closing date, that is the secret weapon. This is the exact day that your credit card company takes a snapshot of your account. Whatever your balance is at that moment is the number that they send over to the credit bureaus. See, most people pay their bill after that snapshot is taken, meaning a high balance gets reported for the entire month, even if they pay it off just a few days later. Okay, let's make this super clear with a real-world example. Imagine you've got a credit card with a $10,000 limit. You use it for everything this month: groceries, gas, bills, the works. And now your balance is sitting at $4,000. Right now, at this moment, your credit utilization is 40%. To a credit scoring model, that is a big red flag. A 40% utilization suggests you might be under financial stress, and it will absolutely drag your score down. We're talking 20, 30, maybe even 40 points. Now, you're a responsible person, so you're going to pay off most of that balance. Let's say you plan to pay $3,500. But here's the million-dollar question. Do you make that payment before your statement closes, or do you wait and pay it after it closes but before the due date? The impact on your credit score is wildly different depending on what you choose. And here's the magic trick. If you make that $3,500 payment before the statement closing date, the snapshot that gets sent to the credit bureaus shows a balance of only $500. Just like that, your utilization plummets from a dangerous 40% all the way down to a stellar 5%. Think about that. You still got to use your card for everything, you still earned all your rewards points, but to the credit bureaus, you look like a financial rock star. You controlled the data. That is the secret to an 800-plus score. Okay, so you've got the timing down. Now it's time to really level up your game. Let's talk about some of the common myths and traps that can still mess you up even when you're doing the main thing right. Knowing how to avoid these is what separates the pros from the amateurs on the road to an 800 score. This is a big one, a question I see all the time. If low utilization is good, then zero must be the best, right? It just makes sense. Pay off the entire balance before the statement closes so you report a nice clean zero. But is that actually the smartest move? And the answer, which surprises a lot of people, is no. That is false. It's a really common myth. See, scoring models are all about predicting risk, and to do that, they need to see your recent behavior. A reported balance of zero shows that you're not using your credit. It gives them no data to work with. The data from millions and millions of credit reports shows that the absolute sweet spot for maximizing your points is to report a tiny, non-zero balance, somewhere in that 1% to 7% range. This proves you are actively and responsibly using credit, which is exactly what lenders want to see. Now, here is a much more subtle trap, but it's just as important. Let's say you have 3 cards, each with a $10,000 limit. That's $30,000 in total credit. And let's say your total debt is just $1,500, which gives you a fantastic overall utilization of 5%. You're golden, right? Well, what if that entire $1,500 is all on one card? The scoring models see that. They see one card at 15% utilization, and they also see your overall. If that one card was at 90%, it would be a huge problem. They look at both your aggregate utilization and your per-card utilization. A single maxed out card is a massive red flag, so you want to keep the balances low across all of your cards. Oh man, this might be the most persistent and most expensive credit myth of all time. You've probably heard it, the idea that you need to carry a balance and pay the bank some interest to show them you're a good customer. Is there any truth to this at all? No. Absolutely 100% false, and please don't fall for this one. It has cost people so much money and completely unnecessary interest payments. Let me be crystal clear. The credit score models could not care less if you pay interest. There's no field in your credit report for interest paid. They only care about the balance that's reported on your statement closing date. By following our simple rule, you can report a perfect 1 to 7% utilization, then pay off that small remaining balance in full before the due date, and never, ever pay a dime in interest. All right, we have covered a lot of ground. We've got the secret, we know why it works, and we know the traps to avoid. Now, for our final section, let's put it all together into a simple step-by-step action plan. This is your checklist to take everything we've talked about and turn it into a real-world strategy to get that 800-plus score. Okay, here it is. Your 6 steps to an 800-plus score. Let's run through them. Step 1, automate perfection. First things first, log in to every single one of your credit card accounts and set up autopay for at least the minimum payment. This is your safety net. It guarantees you never, ever miss a payment by accident, which protects that giant 35% chunk of your score. Step 2, identify the reporting date. This is your new homework. Pull up your recent statements for every card you own and find that statement closing date. Put these dates in your phone calendar, your wall calendar, whatever you use.
This is your new most important date. Step 3, adhere to the 7% ceiling. A few days before each of those closing dates, you're going to log in and make a manual payment. The goal is simple. Pay down the balance enough so that your total utilization across all your cards will be under 7%. Step 4, embrace the 1% floor. While you're doing that, make sure you leave a small balance on at least one of your cards. Could be $10, $20, doesn't matter. This makes sure you land in that 1 to 7% sweet spot and don't report zero. Step 5, maintain balanced distribution. Keep an eye on your individual cards. Your goal is to keep any single card from reporting a utilization over 10%. If one is getting high, maybe use a different card for a bit. And finally, step 6, utilize credit limit increases. About every 6 to 12 months, go online or call your credit card company and ask for credit limit increase. It's usually a soft pull, won't hurt your score. A higher limit instantly lowers your utilization ratio without you changing a thing. It's a free and powerful boost.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. After everything we've talked about today, it all really comes down to this one simple question. If I asked you right now what your statement closing dates are for your credit cards, could you tell me? If not, that's your first step. Finding those dates is the beginning of you taking total control of your credit score. And that's really it. You see, it's not about being a financial genius or earning a six-figure salary. It's just about knowing how the system works and knowing which date on the calendar is the one that really matters. By just shifting your focus from the due date to the statement closing date, you can control your own data and finally unlock your path to that 800+ credit score. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful and you want to master other complex topics just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.